grab yourself a coffee for this section. We have some things to talk about. Firstly, the moral ambiguity of this developing war between nations, between like Marley and Paradis, the shifting perspective of who we think are our enemy and kind of seeing things through their eyes and kind of trying to realize like, who are we fighting? Why are we fighting? And I feel like in this arc there is like this really great critique of war because we see through the actual people who war affects through like say the eyes of Reina or like through the eyes of like Gabby and some other new characters that we meet in this arc who are Marleyans, I think it's called. You actually do get to see like how it actually affects the people who are usually the fodder to whoever is in political power to get them to the top kind of thing. And so you really do see how it affects them. And like especially like Reina, like every single arc that goes by, I seem to have this like newfound respect and appreciation for him and what he's been through. Especially when we get the moments between Eren and Reina when they're talking in Marley, which oh my god, I was like so shocked. I didn't even realize there was like a 4-year time skip. And also the fact that Eren would be like so knee deep into Marley, like he was bang in there. Didn't even realize that was him at the hospital. And I know he's run up a little bit, but I should have realized. But when Eren's talking to Reina, and it feels like Eren has kind of accepted the fact that Reina did what he did when he and Bertold and Annie penetrated the wall at the very start of the series, caused his mother to die, and set off the whole chain of events. He seems to have come to accept it because Eren says, well, if it was to save the world, I guess you didn't have a choice. And that really stuck with me because I'm thinking, well, I feel like everybody in the series is trying to save the world in one way. It just depends on how they were raised. It really depends on their upbringing. Because another thing about Gabby, oh my god, like, I can't talk about it right now because I'm so sad. I'm gutted that she killed Sasha. But there's a part of me that can't blame Gabby too much because, as I was saying, there was a line, ignorant children raised by ignorant adults. And like, oh my god, that line stuck. I got chills, like literally, I got chills just now at the idea and the prospect that all of this war, all of this bloodshed, everything that they're fighting for, and I mentioned this in a couple of arcs before as well because I feel like this theme has kind of been present, but maybe not as present as it has been in this arc. Who's the real enemy? Why are we fighting? Depending on what you're told, you could believe anything when it comes to the history of a place. You could believe that all the people in Paradis are devils because that's what you've been told, that's what you've been raised to be taught. And I kind of love the fact that we have Gabby, who honestly I really liked her to begin with. I feel like I still like her. I know she killed Sasha, but I feel like herself, like she's kind of a vessel at this moment, like a storytelling vessel where we have to see exactly the tragic implications of an upbringing where you are pitted against other people for all of the wrong reasons and given all of like the wrong information, and you know, like you're raised to believe a certain way, you're raised to be a bigot essentially. Like I feel like you could apply this theme to so many different cultures in our world, like our actual world, and apply it to Attack on Titan, and also like the way it critiques that because Gabby, she killed poor innocent Sasha. I mean, again, Sasha isn't all that innocent too. Sasha's also, you know, had to do things in her military training. She's had to see things and she's been forced to do things in order to survive and what she's been told from like command and all of this, that and the other. It's like this horrible circle of violence. It just keeps getting perpetuated as we continue on with the story, and it's so heartbreaking because you're seeing the actual people it's affecting. Poor Gabby, like she could have had a totally different life. You know, like she has so much hatred in her heart that she would go up into that airship thing and just shoot anywhere, and poor Sasha is just the one who ended up getting hit and dies. Oh, like meat. She loves meat. Like she reminds me so much of Luffy, but Sasha didn't deserve that, man. I mean, we all have blood on our hands. I think that's kind of what this arc is trying to convey. We all have blood on our hands, and there are going to be so many casualties in this war. And it's deep. It is deep. But I do want to reiterate that I am looking at all the positives. I am looking at the amazing themes that are being explored. But I don't love military heavy stories. I don't really love war heavy stories. I just don't gel with them all that much. I always appreciate the messages that they convey, but it's kind of not what I wanted from this series. And again, like what I want from the series is totally different to what the mangaka is actually gonna give us. You know, he's telling the story, it's his story to tell, but it's just totally different to how I started the series. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I really respect and appreciate the fact that a lot of the pieces are coming together and that it's actually telling like such a brilliant story. Like, I'm giving it credit where credit is due. It is a brilliant story. I'm loving the critique on war in all of this, but it's just not my thing. And I hope you can respect that. It's not my thing. It was the same with The Walking Dead. I used to love it in the early days, like when I was more scared of the zombies and stuff. And then like the later arcs in the comic book series started to get into more like military stuff and government stuff and political stuff. And I don't like politics. I don't like all of that in stories. Well, I'm kind of hit and miss with it. It really does depend. And that's when it kind of lost me. Like, I just didn't really love the end of The Walking Dead because of that. And I can kind of see Attack on Titan going the same route. And again, I'm not hating on this arc. I'm still going to give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It was dragged down so much with all of the talking. Like, there was just so much talking a lot of the times. And I did get a lot of comments. I just uploaded my manga collection tour and I talked about Attack on Titan. I hadn't read it yet in that video when I filmed it, but the comments on that video are like, it's probably best to do the anime of Attack on Titan. And I honestly agree. I think I would so much more prefer to see this being portrayed rather than all of like the blocks of text and not really a whole lot going on the pages for like so much of it before like something happens. It just feels like I'm being told so much without being shown it. And we're at this point in the story where there is so much that we did need to be told. And so we had to like kind of get there in a quick and efficient route. And that route was to just like tell us. And again, not my favorite narrative choice, but I'm definitely continuing the anime, by the way. Even when I've finished Attack on Titan, even if I don't love the ending, I'm still going to go straight into the anime, and I'm so excited. But other things I really did love about the Marley arc was I loved seeing the past with like Reina and Bertold and Annie, like how they actually came to the wall and like the way that everything started. Like, I couldn't believe it was really just the three of them. Well, there was another guy, but he got eaten. That blows my mind to see that perspective, considering how monumental all of that was, just to see how desperate they were to be successful in their mission. Like, how it was really just like them three and like how scared they were about going back to Marley and like being failures and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I don't agree with their actions, of course, but like they were told to do it, and like I kind of knew something else would be pulling the strings and stuff. But it's like my feelings are so conflicted with so many things in this. Like, I don't think there is really like all of these groups fighting each other. Sometimes there isn't really a a black and white thing there. There's like so much going into it that I can't. I'm gonna go back to the beginning of Attack on Titan with the anime and just see things in a totally different perspective. And when the hell is Annie gonna wake up as well? I kind of miss her. I was really liking her to begin with, but she's been asleep for so bloody long and she's still asleep. I mean, more power to her. I would do the same thing. Like, just like, sleep your way through it. Now wake up on the other side when everything's already done. Back to Marley though, back to like the conversations between Eren and Reina. Oh, it was just so fantastic, that whole scene. I love the fact that there was this guy called Willie who was talking to the people of Marley at the same time. He was giving this like big speech on having this war against Paradis and like the people of Paradis. And then as soon as he's finished his speech, Eren turns into a Titan, like the Attack Titan, and like kills Willy in front of everyone. That was so epic. I freaking love that. And then you see all of the people who we know and love, like Mikasa, she comes and she's pretty badass. We have Levi and a little bit of a fight with the Beast Titan. For a second I thought, oh, did he actually get him this time? But it looks like they've captured him, like they kind of want him to join them, so like they weren't trying to kill him. I'm like, at this point, I don't know who's gonna die unless they're called Sasha. Like, when it comes to a Titan, like the Beast Titan or Reina or anything, I never know if they're actually dead. Like, they look like they probably just died, but they didn't. But I kind of like the fact that we now have Zeke. I'm interested to know why, like what they're trying to accomplish with that. Also, is there going to be some like scenes between Eren and Zeke, considering they are half brothers? So I'd imagine they have a lot of history. I imagine they have a lot they want to talk about. And I'm kind of concerned by the end of this arc because Armin says something like he doesn't know Eren anymore. And I'm like, what happened in the past 4 years to make Eren change so much? Like, why doesn't Armin know him that much anymore? What's different? How has the last 4 years changed him? Especially the way that we left, I think it was the end of the Return to Shiganshina arc, where we had them reaching the ocean. They finally achieved their dream. And so everything should be hunky-dory. Everything should be nice. And they should have developed a stronger bond after all that time, surely. But no, like, for some reason, Eren is different. He did seem very cool, though. I love the end of it as well, the way he was like, fight in the mirror. And he's got a great hairstyle now. I'm loving his hair. I'm loving his look. There is some kind of secret plan going on. I don't know what that entails exactly, but there was mention of using the sleeping titans in the walls, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. That's going to cause a lot of destruction. If the walls come down, that's going to be a lot of rubble. Could there be deaths? Could there be a lot of deaths and casualties with that? But also the idea of all of those massive, well, I guess there's more than one Colossus Titan if there's so many of them in the walls, unless they're called something else. Maybe there was and I just miss it. But I'm interested to see if that's actually going to turn into something, if they are going to bring the walls down. I'm interested to see what happens with Gabby. Like, I'm really excited to find out what is going to happen there, because she is still really just a child, and she did something so awful. But then again, they were pitted against one another by society, by the government. So, like, oh my god, I'm so conflicted, but Sasha, I'm so sad still. Every now and then I remember Sasha, because I finished the arc last night, and every now and then I'm like, oh, meat. And she just tasted seafood for the first time as well. Oh god, like, it's tragic. I am so scared to go into the next arc. Are you kidding me? It's the final arc. Oh, before I move on as well, I loved when Eren said, well, one, we are all the same, but two, the fight with the Warhammer Titan. That was epic. And Eren using the Jaw Titan to break the thing, the hardened thing around the Warhammer Titan. That person who's in the hardened state used the jaws to, like, crush that, and then oh my god, like, that was, I mean, that's sick. It's twisted, but a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. So I can't remember if I mentioned, I am giving this one a 7.5 out of 10, but I am gonna also bump up the Return to Shiganshina arc. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 instead of an 8.5 out of 10. That just feels more right to me. I've had a little bit more time to sit on that, and that feels right to me. 9 out of 10. But I do have the final 8 volumes of Attack on Titan now. The final arc. It's massive. It's a big arc. The biggest arc so far. I've been really enjoying how short and punchy the arcs have been. They are nothing like the length of One Piece arcs. Even though the chapters of Attack on Titan are definitely longer than the chapters of One Piece. One chapter of Attack on Titan is probably equivalent to like 2, maybe 3 chapters of One Piece. But I'm so scared. I'm so scared if there's going to be more major character deaths. I'm so scared to see the resolution of this war. Is there going to be a resolution? Sometimes there aren't resolutions in war in real life. So I'm kind of scared of that. What's going to happen with Eren? Has he gone too far? Has he gone way beyond being brought back? This fight between like Marley and Eldians, that's going to be interesting. Will I get more development with Mikasa? Because I love her, but I feel like she's kind of had a bit of a step back in recent arcs. She hasn't been as focused as I'd love. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited to dive in. I can't wait any longer, so I'll see you on the other side. The next time you see me, I'll have finished all of Attack on Titan. I'm scared.